peeps? It's your girl Dash, come back to your own takes. Well, today I'm doing a little bit of a movie news. Some things, of course, have popped up earlier in the week, and definitely something that is on a lot of people's minds, definitely on social media. And this has to do with Spider-Man. Now, at first I wasn't sure I even wanted to discuss this. I'll say from the standpoint that I do enjoy Spider-Man. He's one of the characters I enjoy being a part of Marvel. I don't follow Spider-Man like that, meaning I don't do the comic books, whichever, but I have watched the movies from the beginning with Tobey Maguire and also with Andrew Garfield, and now, of course, Tom Holland. So, over time, I've enjoyed watching the character. I even saw, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and I really enjoyed that. So, from that standpoint, now, the reason I decided to kind of talk about it. I have a friend that I work with, and we love to talk about movies. We definitely talk about comic books. He reads them, and he was the one that kind of broached the subject when we were just, sitting in the office, and he saw it on. He was reading one of his regular blogs, and he's like, just like, look at this mess. And that's when he brought it to my attention. I hadn't even really checked my social media throughout the day when this stuff just started to pop off. Now, of course, being they're stating, of course, Spider-Man is going to be leaving Marvel. Of course, it's a property from Sony. And let's just say a lot of people are not too happy. The things I have seen online have been literally just, people just none too happy. I mean, beyond just straight pissed. The amount of rants, the amount of tweets, the amount of memes, whatever you want to call it, just people getting their frustrations out. And I mean, understandably so. I know when me and him were discussing this, he's just like, his whole thing was just like, if they had not kept changing the overall story narrative of this, certain things might have been different, whichever. He was rather vague about that, but of course, just kind of getting into the gist of this, I know this had to do with the fact that they put together this particular contract negotiations back, was it 2015, when they of course signed up Tom Holland to become Spider-Man. Now, of course, at the time I wasn't familiar with Tom Holland. I didn't know who he was, whichever, so I was curious. Now, granted, the previous movies through Sony, I did enjoy the first one by Andrew Garfield, the second one none too much, whichever. So when they were going to do another one, I'm like, well, didn't we just have to? Why are we rushing into this? But of course, they wanted to see what they can do, of course, coming together with Marvel. And they probably thought at the time, of course, it is a good fit. They were building up, all these different phases of, Iron Man, of course, Thor. We're getting to see Captain America, and more characters coming out in the fold. And then here we are finishing up, this year with Phase 3, slowly going to start building into Phase 4 of Marvel. So everything was exciting. Of course, Spider-Man having, his, movie recently, Far From Home, did very well, and is now considered, this is the biggest selling movie, of all time through Sony. Of course, before that was Skyfall, and I love that movie. So, yes, nothing wrong with that. Someone else has to take, the mantle with that. So to hear that this is happening, it's rather unfortunate. I know for a lot of people who are comic book lovers, they're not too happy about this. I know some people who might not read comic books so much, but just love, Spider-Man and stuff, probably are not happy with this. They feel like this is a perfect fit, him being a part of MCU. Granted, us building his character, throughout these, movies he was first, teased, introduced in Civil War. Then, of course, he got his first movie. Then he came back, and did, of course, Infinity War and Endgame, and then of course he had his Far Home. So I think, what is it, 6 movies he's entailed. So it's kind of up in arms because of the way the movie was done. Don't hurt me because I did not see it at the theater. I actually planned to just watch the last Spider-Man Far From Home. My friend did not really, truly, spoil me, but let's just say he says the way it was left at the ending, a lot of stuff, certain things were revealed, whatever, so it's kind of left up in the air with certain things, and that's all he had to say. I kind of get the gist of that part. So I'm just trying to understand, because they're stating, of course, this has to do with the renegotiations, of course, now. Being that Endgame, of course, the highest grossing movie of all time, of course, Spider-Man being part of that, all these different things culminate, whichever. So, of course, they want to come back to the table. You see the situation with now, prior to that, they were only getting, what was it? I don't think they said, 5%, of the first day sales with the movie when it comes out, whichever. Now that they made this good money, it made good money. Marvel has been doing awesome at the box office for a long time. So I'm not surprised by that. But then what is kind of slowed the brakes is the fact that they want that 50%, and let's just say Sony's not having it. Now, granted, Sony does own the property, which is Spider-Man. I'm gonna tell you like this: greed can be such a powerful thing. Ego, whatever you want to call it. You never think. You always want someone to look at the bigger picture and kind of see the potential. If you continue I want to say, what's the word I want to use? I'm trying to find the word, whichever and all. If you continue working together and all, have a good relationship with with the companies or whatever and all, and keep putting out good good product, good movies or whichever. You want to see it as a win-win. In this instance, they don't see it like that. They see it as a high jump. But I'm like, do you really think they want to stay at 5%? Some individuals will think, well, why did they want 5% to begin? Whatever. Some individuals, when I was talking, besides him, were stating, they probably didn't foresee, I don't know if Sony thought that they didn't foresee this making as much money or doing that. Well, I don't know how. With all the other movies over, through Marvel, some movies not so much, but the bulk of them generally did very well at the box office. They're in the billions. Excuse me. So I just don't see how they really thought they were going to keep that 5%. Let's just be real. So it's interesting how they didn't want to budge. So what's happening now is like Marvel's like, okay, and being in Marvel's affiliated with Disney, you already know once you put the Disney word into it. I mean, come on now. I'm not surprised. And in the end, let's just be honest. Once the last two came out, what were you really going to do with the actual Spider-Man character? Nothing at the moment. You were just going to just kind of like sit on it for a minute and then figure out, regroup, whatever. A couple years later, do another reboot, whichever. Clearly not. That's why you went to Marvel to see, and then you're very probably humble and happy and grateful for what they did to have this particular character, grow and do very well. And now, okay, I'll take it from here. And that's kind of what it seems like. Now, on Disney's standpoint, yeah, 50%, but then also I'm thinking they want a little bit of that merchandise. And I'm going to tell you right there, that's a big one. When they want the merchandise, that becomes a big issue too, because you already know, besides ticket sales, film, people want the merch. Also, I would see why they would want that. Plus, can you imagine if they're going to do any type of theme park rides for Spider-Man? I mean, come on, let's be real. Some people see it, Disney being greedy and all that. And I'll say it like this, Disney they have their moments. I don't want one movie, studio being able to own everything. And in that way, I feel for Sony, whichever, because they want to hold on to this one, whichever. But then it's like, how are you going to fare if you don't, in regards to that, whatever? I mean, because let's just be real. Okay, Tom has already done 5 appearances as Spider-Man. I think he has 1 left because I think his overall was a 6, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Now, the director for it, we don't know if John Watts is going to do the one, and I'm hearing that supposedly he's not signed on to do Spider-Man 3. So for right now, it looks like nothing's going to be happening. Now, what's happening is this. I'm going to read a statement that I saw, and I had to read this because this is going to let me go into the rest of my rant about this. This is from Sony, because it's almost like they're trying to deflect and change, as they say, the narrative. Much of today's news about Spider-Man has mischaracterized recent discussions about Kevin Feige's involvement in the franchise. We are disappointed but respect Disney's decision not to have him continue as a lead producer of our next live-action Spider-Man film. We hope this might change in the future, but understand that the many new responsibilities that Disney has given him including all their newly added Marvel properties, do not allow time for him to work on the IP they do not own. Kevin is terrific, and we are grateful for his help and guidance and appreciate the path he has helped put us on, which we will continue. Okay. I see how they never brought up the money factor. We know that did play a part, whichever, because that kind of is what pushed this whole negotiation, down where nobody wants to budge, clearly. So they're trying to do it where a lot of people are, want to blame Sony and they want to ship it, and some people, blaming Disney. It's almost damn near even killed, to be quite honest, whichever. Because from the things I saw on social media, I mean, it's just both sides. It's been brutal. I really wish they didn't say it like that, because let's just be real. With all the things they do have on the plate, it's not like Kevin, Marvel, Disney, all that could not make the time truly for if they really want to. Yes, they do have some movies they're working on. We're getting ready to start getting a lot of the movies that are getting ready for Phase 4. There's a couple of them coming out next year, and then also the TV shows, which will be coming out later next year in the fall, whichever, from Disney's live stream. Now, it's not like they can't. We know it won't be in phase 4. It's a possibility they could put it into phase 5. So it's not like they can't. Let's just be real. Kevin truly couldn't do what he needed to do to find a way to work on this. That is never an issue with them. It's just a time crunch of timeline of where they could fit that in and whatever, and then do what he needs to do, whichever. They've been doing this stuff very strategically all this time, whichever. So I'm not even buying that. So I'm just curious how long. They have not made a final. They can probably still come back to the table and negotiate. I just want the egos to get out of the way, whichever, because like I said, the fans who really love Spider-Man, I'm going to tell you, this is not good. This is not good at all. And I'm going to say also in regards to how I feel about this, because let's just say this, okay, they don't do Spider-Man for a while, whichever. And I can see them, let's just say they do take a break, okay? Nothing in phase 4 for Spider-Man, whichever, but moving forward. My guy friend, we were talking about that, the comics or whatever down with the ones that called Secret Wars. He does, come up in those, whichever, and all that. And if this is not hashed out, how that's going to work, okay, fine. I see his point there. I'm already thinking about, if he's not going to be on board this, are they going to try to implement him within, of course, I discussed, I think, a week or so ago about Venom 2. We know Andy Serkis is going to be the director. Tom Hardy's coming back, whichever, Michelle Williams. I know some of us, when we knew Venom, the first one came out, whatever, and all that, how they're going to, put this in this. He wasn't in it at all. He's with Marvel. This was all the discussion back then. So I'm curious to see, is that something they're going to try to do now? Because if they do a Venom 2 with Woody Harrelson, Tom Hardy, and all that come in, if he's going to be kind of somewhat put into that, I don't know if that's going to really happen. I know one thing, if they do, this one will definitely be rated R. I don't know. Secondly, with all the different, say, nemesis of villains that he's had through in the comics, like, Kraven, Morbius, of course, Venom, I am going to watch them. I know I'm hearing stuff, people talking about boycotting, Venom 2, whatever. Not. I ain't boycotting nothing, okay? I feel for everybody, whichever, I'm not boycotting a movie. I definitely plan to see Venom 2. I damn sure going to see Morbius. I've been talking about that off and on all my movie news, waiting for that to come out. They wrapped that baby up back in May. That comes out next year in July. I most definitely plan to see this. I'm hoping some individuals, all the powers that be, come to their senses and work this out, whichever. But I know the person that's going to hurt, honestly, the most at the moment will definitely be Sony, more so than Marvel. Like you said, Marvel is going to be staying busy, have other things going on, all that, but a lot of people are just not feeling this. And after all the things that happened in Endgame, them losing, like I said, Tony Stark, whatever, and all that, to kind of build up Peter Parker's, like his protege of sorts, whichever, and all that. It's almost like some people I saw were like, like a death that was wasted, being that Tony's now gone, whatever, if they were going to do this, whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's valid in that instance. I see the point. So I just don't know what to think of this. But to make it even more interesting, the D23 is coming up, I think, this weekend. On top of that, Tom Holland's supposed to be at the Keystone Comic Con thing in Philly this weekend. I want to know what kind of conversation they're going to have with him during a Q&A. Because let's just say that they said, over the course of the years, that Tom Holland sometimes like to blurt things out or say things, whatever, and all that. He's not very tight-lipped at times. So I can only imagine they're going to have to press him on what to not say, definitely in this instance with what's going on with this. Now, in regards to Kevin Feige being there to do during D23, I heard he's going to be doing some sort of Marvel presentation. So I think everybody's going to be politically correct in regards to what kind of statement he put out. It's going to be interesting because a lot of them are going to want to talk about this the entire weekend. So I'm going to be online looking to see what I can find about this, because I really want to see what people are going to ask and what questions and how they're going to try to sidestep them. More so Tom than Kevin. Kevin's more of a professional. He's a little bit more older. He deals with these type of things, whatever, being the CEO of Marvel. But Tom, I don't know. That one's going to be really, really interesting. So, but yes, I just had to come on here because I'm just like, oh my goodness, you have these individuals online just riled up and they're not happy. The amount of people that I follow on YouTube and I watch and how they feel strongly about this character are none too happy. The faces in some of these thumbnails is almost sad, because you can just tell this is not some sort of news we were expecting to see, which came out of nowhere. So I feel for them. I really hope for the diehard fans, they get their wish, and I'm hoping. But somebody made a joke talking about what was it with the D23? Don't this could be all an illusion. This might not be real. Whatever, all that. I'm gonna tell you like this. This is real. This is actually happening. They're not gonna put everybody through all this, especially their fans, just to like say, psych, gotcha, moment, whatever. No. This has actually happened, and this is what I said before in regards to another situation. This is business. This is considered Hollywood business. This is how they roll. It can be very cutthroat, and this is exactly what we're dealing with right now. Something individuals, of a certain fandom or whatever are not feeling, and this is how it is. When both people to the table don't want to negotiate, this is what happens. So I'm not surprised, when things like this pop up. It's hate, when it happens like this in a form that a lot of people wish it would not happen. The people will come, cooler heads, as they say, hope prevail. But right now, nothing's going to happen. I'm hoping that they might just use it as a cooling off period and all that, and then eventually might come back to the table. We might not hear about it for a while, and that's fine, whatever. But a lot of people are doing these hashtags trying to save Spider-Man. All these things are going on right now, so it's kind of fresh. I don't see this for the next couple of weeks going anywhere, because once this weekend happens, we'll know what Kevin says over the weekend on D23. A lot of that will probably be put into a lot of the different blogs, in regards to entertainment, news or whatever. So hopefully we'll hear something from him. They're going to put out a statement out, as Sony put the statement out, whichever. So I'm going to keep my eyes glued to this, because I'm dying to know exactly what's going to be said, definitely after this weekend with D23. So, but I just had to come with you guys. Comment below. Just let me know how you feel. If you're a fan of it, what do you think? If you have feelings about Sony, Disney, both. I'm trying to just say even kill, because I see the side of Sony. I do see the side of Marvel, Disney, whichever. But like I said, money talks, it's just, that's how it is. And like I said, it can get really ferocious and cutthroat, whichever. And when both sides don't want to, budge, this is what happens. You just just take it off the table. And like I said, Marvel, they're chilling. They're not hurting, whatever. They're not happy about this, trust and believe, but they're like, we're not going to hurt right now. We do have everything that's going on. Sony, they're trying to build up a little bit more. And just because you have Spider-Man doesn't mean that's the only thing you have right now is your main lifeline at the moment, per se, honestly. So it's like, if you're not bringing out anything else, whatever, you better bring some other stuff for them, but it's not going to be on the same level as Marvel. So we'll have to just see how that turns out. But I just had to come here, just put my little bit of 2 cents on that. So you guys, like I said, comment below, let me know what you all think. And with that said, I will see you guys on the next movie news. You guys take care.